How's everybody doing today?
I'm good. Doing good.
Great.
Did something just blind you?
My camera.
Yeah.
It keeps wanting to go out of focus.
Oh. Once again, I have no clue what day it is.
It's Thursday.
It is Thursday. We record on Thursdays. That is correct.
September 5th.
September 5th. I should know better because my son's birthday was yesterday.
Wow.
But I knew his birthday was yesterday. I knew what day his birthday was on, but still could not figure out what today was. Everybody can tell Alex isn't here, so we're going to do the best that we can.
It's be a lot quieter.
Except for the potential crashing noises in the background.
Yeah.
But no, it should still be a fun one, though. Should still be a fun one. Man. Why am I here? All right. So,
Just ask why you are here.
episode 5. We are 10 weeks in, boys. 10 weeks.
That's a dog.
That is a dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's Leo's dog. All right. We'll do some. I'll probably actually have to do some editing on this one. Oh, man. So, we got some topics today. We're going to go over a few things. Looks like on the list today is Stuck in Space. Britain is trying to extradite Americans. We're going to talk about giants in the Bible and some cultures. And doomsday fish. Along with, I think we're going to try to touch on that school shooting down there in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So, should be a good one today. I'm going to get my notes actually brought up here. Oh, man. So, I don't know if everybody else has seen, but Boeing has had their share of issues lately, haven't they?
Yeah, they've had quite a few issues.
Yeah.
They just keep coming and coming.
Among them, they're having issues with things on this planet. They decide to shoot a rocket into space with people on it. So they currently there's 2 astronauts stuck on the International Space Station because their Starliner made by Boeing has malfunctioning boosters and is leaking helium. Give me just a second. Right.
And
So-
we're back.
So, 2 astronauts currently stuck on the International Space Station. Starliner made by Boeing I cannot say that word. I will keep on saying manufactured. Malfunctioned.
Mm-hmm.
So, malfunctioning boosters and is leaking helium. Apparently, helium is what they use when they're moving through space. Or I think they use it as a pressuring agent to push fuel through. But they're trying to find solutions to the problem. And they say they're having some small issues with that. It looks like now SpaceX is going to come to the rescue. Dragon capsule allegedly is going to be sent to them. But they're going to have to wait till February. February of next year. So,
That's still
they've been up there.
that's still sooner than what Boeing was going to be able to get to them.
Yes. And I don't know if I would trust Boeing to come get me, truthfully.
Yeah, I think they were saying like April before Boeing could get another ship up there.
Really.
Yeah.
So, they, I don't know if you also saw on September 1st, the capsule that's docked to the International Space Station there started emitting like sonar sounds coming from it, and those guys are kind of up there freaking out because nobody made it do it. It just started doing it on its own.
That's fun.
So, like sitting on like a beacon call. So I don't know if it thinks it's lost in space or what it is, but
It's the mothership. It's sending signals to the mothership.
to the mothership. Yeah. I don't know. So,
ET phone home.
yeah. You guys, I mean, I personally wouldn't have trusted Boeing to get me up there.
No.
I don't know about you guys.
Now the door would open up on you.
No, I'm not really. I mean, SpaceX has been going into the International Space Station back and forth since 2020 already, so I don't know why they didn't just continue with them and instead of launching one with Boeing, which with their track record.
Yeah, I don't know. But I know our NASA doesn't have a great record with their stuff either, so they keep having all their stuff blow up. That's why they stopped our taxpayer-funded space program. Is this because they became too dangerous and they're having too many issues with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Boeing said they're having trouble keeping doors on planes here on Earth. Can you imagine that? They've been in their capsule and lost a door flying through space. No. But no. The other part is I don't know if Leo saw that or not. I sent out that thing where we have approximately 6 months for everybody in this plant to buy gorilla costumes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So they
That'd be great.
come back and they think Planet of the Apes is taking over.
That is an interesting thing because that is a phenomenon where when you're in space, you know, the dilation, the time dilation, it's a different thing for you when you're up there versus when you're down here. You age slowly up there, your body does.
Right.
So
Well, your tissue does, but I think your bones deteriorate quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which is the other problem. The lack of gravity actually hurts their bones quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're
an interesting situation for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being up there that long. I mean, that's a big ask.
Yeah.
To keep your sanity levels up there, and I mean, geez, that's just I wouldn't be able to do it.
They're relying right now on SpaceX because SpaceX sends uncrewed ships up there with supplies to them right now.
Yeah.
So they're relying on them for all their supplies, but nobody likes to talk about Elon Musk and all that, so they don't like him. No. But he's the only person currently keeping these two people alive. So
yeah,
and they all get mad at him, you know, because he is what he is. And they say he's spending his money on the wrong things, but he's doing what he needs to do, in my opinion, helping people out, sending things places. So
yeah.
But
I don't really know how much money he's spending on the wrong things. He lives in a $50,000 house.
Right. No, he lives a modest life. I think he's up to it's either 8 or 12 kids now.
Gee whiz.
I can't remember. Yeah, it's either 8 or 12 kids.
Yeah, it's a lot, but
he says he absolutely loves everything going on. He loves to have his kids.
Yeah,
Things, you know.
He's actually started a school because he didn't like the way the educational system was teaching his kids. And
really? I didn't know he did that.
Then he had other kids like joining his school and stuff.
Huh. I didn't know that. I know there's a lot of people out there starting different systems trying to get us off public education because I kind of have a slight point of that later on when we go to the talking about thing happened in Georgia. I did forget to mute that.
For shame.
It is muted now, though. So
for shame.
But what better way to keep your kids out of a school shooting if you're homeschooling them and not have to worry about them going to those kind of places anyway? So
yeah,
it's just one of those kind of things. So, but I don't know. There's just a lot going on there. Feel bad for those two people, but I wish I think it would be hilarious though. At a minimum, the people that are there when that dragon lands are all decked out in Planet of the Apes stuff. I think it'd be hilarious.
It'd be great.
It'd be absolutely hilarious. So,
like playing the latest Planet of the Apes movie on a movie projector as they land.
Yeah,
it's just plastered right there as they're like, what? No.
greeted by people in really milk jug again.
It's going to be a tradition.
No, but have some people come riding up on horseback with their gorilla costumes.
Got an orangutan sitting there.
Yep. That'd be great.
I like it.
So, well, I guess we're going to move off on to our next topic here. So, I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I think I got it here in my notes. So, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, can't remember what city. I know it's in the UK. We're going with London Metropolitan. So, I guess I'll just read my notes since I've got all the information there. London Metropolitan Police Chief warned that officials will not only be cracking down on British citizens for commentary on the riots in the UK, but on American citizens as well. So we will throw the full force of the law at people, and whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you. So this was the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, as he told Sky News. So they're in a heavy monitor phase over there. I don't know if either of you two read 1984 or not, but this is kind of where they're going. Mm-hmm. I've been reading it the last couple of weeks. I've not gotten very far because I'm a terrible reader, but Big Brother is here.
Yeah.
It's been about a month, maybe 2 months ago, maybe right before we actually started this podcast. People over there in the UK are cutting down cameras. They're taking out big industrial saws and cutting whole posts down, cameras, dropping them down the streets, because they've got cameras watching for cars going up and down the road, and they will give you a ticket if you're driving like a non-electric car through a electric dedicated zone. So they've got parts of the city so they dedicate as ultra low emission, and they've got cameras watching it.
Wow.
I mean, but the citizens are fighting back, and they're literally going out there and cutting the cameras down in the middle of the night. But the city keeps putting them back up. I mean, can Britain come after us? Come and get us?
Our government would have to allow it. They would have to be the ones to go and police us and then give us over to them.
So, I mean, how? But I think we're kind of getting close to that ourselves over here, aren't we? I think
we definitely are.
We're getting close.
We're definitely towing that line every day.
So
with words that people are trying to get labeled as hate speech.
Yeah.
With certain phrases that we can't use, with having to make sure certain pronouns that are being established that we have to reference to individuals and things, and yeah.
No, but I know at my work we have an online training class we have to do on pronouns. And I've tried a couple different times to have that removed from my training curriculum, as I don't think it doesn't pertain to my job, in my opinion. But it's one of them, they're in a thought process, and we're kind of delving from the original topic here, where they can have their pronouns be whatever they want them to be at whatever time. So how am I supposed to know how to address them anyway?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to get in trouble because I addressed you wrong. I addressed you how I addressed you yesterday, and now today that's not correct. And you don't feel that's the correct way today.
Yeah.
In my mind, there should be some type of anti-entrapment law that goes against that, but I don't know. But I do work in the great city of Bloomington, so.
E-town.
Yeah.
But on the subject of the extraditing over to another country. I mean, I know the UK and countries overseas on most are not like us, right?
No,
The
they're
freedom
not.
of speech is very unique to our country,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a blessing that we take for granted over here.
Yes.
And I know there was a missionary at our church, um, and I got to be vague because she would need me to be vague, and I don't even know the country that she went to,
Yeah.
but the stories that she shared with us at the church when she was preaching was talking about how there was cameras everywhere in the place that she was staying, in a place like that where you had no privacy
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't even talk about religion, and especially our religion, um, and what we stood for. So you feel like sharing Twitter and things that could spark riots. I mean, I know where the UK was coming from, where it's like you had this terrorist who ran around stabbing people at a Taylor Swift concert,
Yeah.
and people were sharing things on Twitter that enraged and was causing things to happen because of that. And then you go to these other countries that you can't go outside and say I'm this or that, or they will just take you out right then and there. It's kind of crazy the levels of just disparity that's out there compared to our own country.
Yeah.
Freedoms that we get to kind of abuse
Yeah.
over
Well,
here.
freedoms that are dwindling though from day to
Oh,
day.
oh yeah.
Dwindling quickly. Have you seen
Yeah.
where they've been like impounding like Teslas and stuff?
I did see that. That's on my notes here.
Is it?
So
Where
yeah.
they were talking about how they monitor out like everything around them at all times, and
Yeah. So
if like something happens, they'll just impound the car so that they can pull the footage off the car.
right. So the article I read stated that Teslas have that Sentinel mode. It's an option that the owner can do if they want it to monitor around it. They can. But Oakland, California's police department has been issuing warrants for those cars that are in crime zones when crimes happen.
Mm.
And if they can't get a hold of the owner within I don't know what time span is, but it seems like it's pretty quick, they just tow and impound the car. So now they're seizing people's property
Oh.
to use for evidence in a crime that's not being done by the person whose property they're seizing. The article I was reading said there was one guy that literally he came out from wherever he was as they were getting ready to tow the car. And he was literally just like, I'll give you the footage. There's no reason for you to take my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally, all those people, I would be getting a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
because
me,
they fall under like legal search and seizure. Like,
I don't know how they're getting a warrant for somebody else's property when they're not involved in the actual crime itself. That makes no sense to me. That just your right to property
yeah.
is a thing, and it should be cherished. I mean, I think it's one of our rights. Where did my little cursor go? I lost my cursor. Oh, there it's back. Okay. Well, I had a computer notification pop up and I needed to get out of the screen. But they're seizing things from people that I personally don't think they have the right to take. And I understand that I don't know how Sentinel mode works. I don't know how long it keeps the footage. I don't know if it's cloud stored or also stored in the car, any of that kind of thing.
I wouldn't see
So I don't know.
see them seizing cars if it was cloud storage.
Right. So I guess it would be stored in the car. I guess they must do it quick because maybe there's only a certain amount of storage and it kind of keeps burning back over, kind of thing. So they got to get in there fairly quick to get that footage. But still, it's kind of a pain in the butt. You come out, your car's gone. You don't know where it's at. You think somebody stole it.
Mm-hmm.
You call the police, but then actually the police stole it.
Yeah.
So, kind of sucks.
Don't buy a Tesla.
But since we're on the Elon Musk topic and on the censorship thing, the country of Brazil, I don't know if you saw it or not, but it's now banned Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that's kind of crazy. Crazy judge banned Twitter, and a lot of people are going out of their way to get it, like VPNs and different things went skyrocketed to be able to get Twitter in that country again.
I'm pretty sure that their government's trying to ban VPNs too, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
If I remember right, they're trying to ban the use of VPNs.
You got their state officials even vowing to do everything in their power. Even they're still going to use Twitter until they can't. Sad thing is that country is very, I don't know what you want to call it, but they're not the cleanest bunch.
No. It's a pretty rough country.
Yeah. And so some people are saying they're going to use this kind of as a stick to kind of beat down their opposition.
Yeah.
So
I blame it on the Confederates because they all moved down there after the war.
Yeah.
You do know that, right? After the Civil War.
Stories about that. They moved down further.
There's a city of America called Americana down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the Confederate soldiers went after the Civil War. Well, not all, but a large majority of them went down there. So, English-speaking population down there. It's, kind of, they've mixed in with the native people now, but it's, I think it'd be neat to go see that town just to see what it looks like. Because they tried to build it as after the South was at that point in time. Something different.
So,
but did you all?
They went down there, and then a couple years later, half of them came back because they realized how hard farming was when you didn't.
Yeah, without the slaves.
Without the slaves, so half of them decided they didn't want to do it anymore and came back.
I had heard that, but I'd forgot that. Yeah, they went down there and tried to farm on their own and keep all their luxuries that they had here, and then realized that they didn't want to work that hard, so they came back.
Mm-hmm.
One last thing inside this topic here. France. Hear what they're trying to do? Nope. They are trying to arrest Telegram CEO because he won't lock down Telegram.
Because it helped with different different groups of. I read this. I can't remember what it was like. Different terrorist groups and things. They used it to move information around.
Right. Allegedly, that's what I believe was being said. I know a lot of Russia uses it.
A lot of different.
But then, I do believe a lot of the Islamic groups use it as well. But France is kind of going after that CEO because he's still saying yes, free speech is a thing. It needs to be out there, but some countries aren't happy about it.
Yeah,
which goes back to the Britain. It's people's free speech. Which
brings me to my one little point that I had about that whole topic, which is it's kind of like I made the thing where it says, however sad and maddening it may be that misinformation could cause violent riots from social media or other platforms, they cannot blame nor point fingers at the people who posted it using these tools, because at the end of the day, it's the people who acted, and those are the people who are the ones that should be blamed, not the tools that are being used.
Yeah,
it's when it comes down to it, you can say things and post things and use the words to offend people all day or night, but it's your actions that are going to represent you.
Yeah.
So those are my 2 cents.
No, good point. I mean, it goes to the Second Amendment as well, kind of that kind of thing. Because there's 120 guns in this country for every 100 people. If guns were truly the problem, everybody would be dead.
Mm-hmm.
You have more guns than people.
I got 2 guns right here.
Right. I mean, it goes back to the individual person needs to be held accountable for what happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Second Amendment thing is a slippery slope. I guess since we're here, we'll go ahead. I mean, I don't know if you guys are ready for the school shooting stuff or not, but since we're already kind of sliding into that topic, that 14-year-old, I don't know, did you see what happened last year? This same kid was questioned.
No, I did not think that last year.
Yeah, the same kid was questioned last year about threats that he made about taking a gun and shooting school.
No. I just this morning saw his mugshot.
Yeah.
So I have not heard anything about him.
I've not seen a mugshot. They've not shown any pictures, and they've not said what color he was the last time I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. He had what appeared to sound like a white person's name, but I have a feeling if he was white, they would have said something about it and made it a point. But maybe since he's a kid, they're not.
I thought I saw that this morning. And there's the headline you just talked about was a suspect was previously questioned and interviewed by the FBI about online threats.
Yeah. But he was, questioned last year. Basically at the end of the school year for 23.
Yeah.
He was questioned about it.
His name is Colt Gray.
Yes.
He is white.
He is white.
Yep.
See, I'm surprised they're not throwing that out there, making it a big deal. But no, the questioning last year went down where the father stated last year in the interview that he does not have unsupervised access to the weapons. They're locked up and kept away. And he made it sound like he had hunting weapons. And they say that he used an AR platform gun. People don't understand. AR platform guns are legally used for hunting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people choose that option. I think more and more are. So I don't know. You can't use that term hunting rifles because he says if that guy uses them just for hunting, anything technically is a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can say about this, the one positive thing I can say is that the school officer seemed like he picked this up pretty quick.
Yes.
And as soon as that kid saw the officer coming towards him, he gave up.
Stopped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that goes where the officers in schools, it's a really good thing. People hate that idea. I hate that idea that you have to have an officer at the school.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. But when you have 1,800 kids in the school, like they said this school was, so technically it's a 4A, 5A high school.
Mm-hmm.
1,600, 1,800 kids. There's going to be issues, and you may need an officer, regardless of whether guns are involved or not.
Yep.
You may need an officer, just for some reason. But I think it's also having the officer there at the school where he talks to kids every day. I think that technically should help relations between police and people. Because he's there, he's seen as a friend, he's seen as, as somebody that these kids can go to if they need to. And something I think people overlook is just that the fact that our police are looked on in such a negative light. Just like in Oakland right now, where they're impounding cars and taking property, they're looked on in such a negative light because of policies that are put in place by other people.
Mm-hmm.
That they have to do their jobs in certain ways that aren't always the best. And then on top of that, you have their funding's being cut to where they can't train correctly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I guess I'm taking Alex's job and delving off topics tonight. So
Go for
because
it.
we're far from where we started. I don't know. I wish I could remember the name of the school detective that we had in middle school. Do you remember, Leo? The guy that walks like Bullwinkle? Walks like a moose, bobbing his head the entire time?
The big tall guy?
Yeah.
Detective Haley?
Was it Haley?
Was it Haley?
I don't remember. I can't remember. So
The bald guy?
no, he had black hair.
Okay.
So we're getting way off topic.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Anyway, no, I mean, I don't know what we do for these kids other than give us an economy where parents can stay home and teach their kids.
Yeah.
Go back to that kind of method. Smaller schools would help stop consolidating
Yeah.
these schools. Like I said, there's 1,800 kids in this one school. I don't. Your freshman year, you remember we were like 2,000, 2,200 kids or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's how.
Maybe somewhere in that area.
Mm.
It's a lot of kids in a school at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the kids that they bust over to Booker T and to whatever the other one was. The public school kids. So all those kids came to our school first.
Yeah, McLean.
Yeah. Came to our school first, and then were bused to a separate school from our school. So, I mean, we had 2,400, 2,600 kids in that school every morning, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be issues. That many kids in that small place.
Yeah.
Coming from so many places when you're consolidating so many different neighborhoods and so many different lifestyles together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any ideas on really how to help them. I wish I did. I want to say more police in schools. But then again, at the same time, I don't. I don't like that idea.
Yeah.
But I do, just to protect the kids. I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas what you think could potentially help this?
I mean, the biggest glaring thing is Jesus.
Yeah.
Outside of that, in a world that don't want Jesus, the only other thing I can think of is a better way of helping them vet their emotions.
Yeah.
And getting them the proper way of talking, because so many of those kids probably don't have parents who have the time, because like you said, our economy is the way it is. They don't have the time. They're all so busy that you wake up, take the kids to school, go to work, come home, make dinner, go to sleep, rinse, repeat.
Yep.
You're busy, you got extracurricular activities, you don't have time. And then you have, the black sheep of the family, the kid who don't have anybody, kind of left alone to their own devices. Who are they going to turn to?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you need to have something, somewhere, somehow, someone who is a better person than themselves or the internet to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, like you said, cops, police, people being there at schools, having that ability to talk to them, maybe that's a help. But you know, counselors, I think, I know this isn't true for every school because I'm only talking my small little sliver, right? Um, but when I was in school, the counselors were there more to help you prepare for college, not to prepare you for life
Right.
and how to help you mentally. Like they were just like, all right, here's the schools. You want what you want? What you want? What you want to do? You want to do this? Okay, here you go.
Yeah.
You want this? Here's your scholarship.
Yep.
You know, they're here to give you this list and help you get ready for this, that, and the other. They're not here to say, and how does that make you feel? They weren't there to be your psychologist. And I think
they were not.
You kind of need some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in this day and age, we got so many people who are taking pills for this, that, and the other, and everything else. Skittle, taste the rainbow. We've got a pill for everything.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that right there, the counselors in the school, I don't know what they're doing. I think ours are mainly when kids got in trouble. It's about the only time they really saw them. My graduating class, when I started senior year, we had 400 kids in my graduating class. By the time I graduated, that number was 250. I don't think we had 150 kids drop out. I know we had a few kids graduate early, because that was an option. But that's still a large number difference from the time we start to the time we end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know there's several of those kids that literally, they had like 6 weeks of school left to go and quit. They were on their way to passing good enough to pass to graduate high school and still quit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're trying to prepare kids for college and failing them in high school. I mean, the whole system needs reworked. Because basically, all the school felt like you were learning how to be cattle on a cattle drive.
Mm-hmm.
You're here at this point when this bell rings until the next bell rings. And then you migrate to the next location.
Big herd.
Yeah. And then you migrate to the next location. And then it's feeding time. And then you migrate to the next location.
Mm-hmm.
Migrate to the next location. Back to the big yellow bus to be taken back home.
Yeah.
And kids, the scores are indicating the fact that our system is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know the year, but at one point in time, the United States was number one across the board in everything as far as school went.
Yeah.
We're not even, I don't think we're even making the top 20 now.
Yeah.
We are failing these kids so bad. I mean, I personally don't think I'm doing a great job homeschooling, but I still feel better about them being home than them being in those types of places.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think the biggest issue is they don't prepare kids for life.
right.
Exactly.
We're preparing them for college, for jobs, but not for life, and that's the biggest issue that they're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people come in and they're like, or somebody like high school level kids, college level kids don't understand how credit works.
No.
Or how I didn't know how credit works. I had to learn it.
Yeah.
How like on camera it's still on autofocus. Stop it. How home equity, mortgage, interest rates, things like that. those are your real important things, not the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah.
No.
An area of a triangle. I mean, that's important stuff to know if you are going to go into a certain field that you need to know that stuff. But, I mean, just trying to keep it all on the same tracks and keep it on the trains of what we're trying to talk about.
Yeah.
But, it's, I don't know. It's kind of hard, you don't want to throw the parents under the bus and say, you're doing a horrible job as parents. I believe with all my heart that every parent on the face of this earth, almost every single one of them, nearly 95, I would say 95%, love their kids to death. But life has gotten to the point where they cannot do everything on a level that is going to prepare these kids adequately enough
Yeah.
on an emotional level where there's not turmoil.
No.
If you're not going to put God in the middle, there's going to be turmoil. So that's
it's
kind of why
that is the big thing, is that they keep pushing harder and harder and harder to take, prayer, Bibles, Pledge of Allegiance, all those kinds of things out of the schools. And as they push harder and harder to get those things out of the schools, an outside eye can see the schools keep getting worse the further they get away from these things.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they can't, you can't see that. You keep pushing, this way, and you're veering downhill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I'd say, if you get a chance, homeschool your kids. I know you're doing it.
Yep.
If that ever becomes an option, I'm not saying you have to. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to. It's not for everyone. I'll be the first to admit that. It is difficult. I don't remember half the stuff that they're trying to get these kids to do. I've had to get my phone out. I had to Google stuff, try to help my kids with their homework, because they're using phrases and terms that I don't remember.
That's what YouTube's
ever being
for.
taught. Google helps too. Google helps a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also the enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Because it listens all the time. All the time. That's what ads are for. Ads pop up on your Facebook because of Google.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible time we live in for that. I spent a good portion of my morning poop canceling, and so you have the option to snooze pages. I've never subscribed to these pages. They just keep popping up.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a good portion of that. We're talking like 15 minutes here. Canceling pages. And I finally got my Facebook feed back to my friends. But I literally said to sit there for 15 minutes to cancel all these other weird pages. Now, tomorrow when I get on there, I hope I don't have to do it again, because it's algorithm changes, and since I cancel that stuff, it jumps a bunch of stuff in there. But I don't care about all the other random things it's trying to show me. I'm trying to catch up with the people that I'm friends with.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be where the people are.
Yes.
Like Little Mermaid.
Yes, exactly. Now I have that song stuck in my head.
You're welcome. Up where they are.
That's where they are. So, we got anything else on that topic that we veered once again?
I don't know if you've
Veered
seen.
way off of.
There's a superintendent in Oklahoma they're actually going to start forcing Bible lessons in their schools.
People aren't going to like that, but I like it.
Yeah, he just came out this past year, said that we're going to start a Bible curriculum as part of our schools. So there's a lot of pushback going against him, but he's fighting for it anyways.
Correct. I know that there's pushback because they think it's religion being forced. There's an aspect of history with it as well.
Yes.
That there's a lot of cultures that have fought wars because of the religion. A lot of wars from along throughout the years were fought because of different beliefs that people had, and they're trying to erase that from people's minds and basically make a group of people that aren't going to think for themselves, and therefore they won't fight. And I'm not saying fighting is always the answer. Sometimes you have to stand up for what you believe in and push back a little bit. And I'm glad that he's teaching them. And I hope it doesn't go too bad. I think Oklahoma, that'll go over pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of nonsense going on there in Oklahoma. Louisiana, I don't know if you saw, they're putting prayer back in school. And the put the Pledge of Allegiance and all those things back in. They're hanging the 10 Commandments in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to help people. I mean, they're good principles to live by, regardless of whether you believe in God or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, just good, solid principles.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry. That's why I turned my camera this direction. So you don't see all the people that keep wandering up and down the stairs. Because I'm surprised I haven't wore them things out. How much they go up and down them for no reason at all.
You need a recording sign. And light it up.
Me and my wife have been talking about this.
on the air.
Yes. So she saw something where I can get one for $15. It lights up and you can change the letters on it to make it say different things.
Troy's on the air.
Yep. So we're going to get that and it'll go over here on the wall, on one of the two walls. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I've got a big sheet of drywall here that I may try to plaster to the wall so I can hang stuff up there.
Yes.
And make the rest of this look better and not look like a bunker. As you can see, concrete
It's fine.
Way underground. Way underground here. But I ain't got to worry about them tornadoes either, so.
At least you got a wall behind you.
Yeah. 10 inches thick of concrete, bud. That's a lot of money and concrete wrapped up in this, dude, but it's worth it. Having a safe space so we can hide.
Yeah.
Out here in the opens. Oh, man. Leo, your camera's getting furry.
Furry?
Yep. I don't know if that's on my side.
You look like an abstract painting.
A little bit.
That's where it might look clear.
And I mean, it usually records clear regardless of what I see.
Yeah.
Everything looks good.
You look like that guy on from Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, the robot guy from Bespin, that one works with Lando. He has his headphones like this. Yeah, that guy.
I don't know what you're talking about, but have you seen the meme going around?
I can share a picture.
Have you seen the meme going around of Jar Jar Binks and Kamala Harris?
Yes.
So I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I've never seen these two people in the same place at the same time.
I like it.
Yep. What are you bringing up, Tyler? Where'd my jar go? I don't know where my water went. Where is that?
There he is.
What in the world happened to my water?
Evaporated.
It's evaporated the glass and everything?
Exactly.
There it is, hiding. Found it.
Okay. I'm going to share.
We don't like her. She's Canadian.
Let's see.
Where are you bringing? Bring it on.
This guy.
This guy. There he is.
That's the guy you look like on my screen right now.
Huh.
I got a little more hair than that, but okay.
A little bit.
A little bit more, but your blonde hair kind of blends in with the light shining down on you. At any rate, all right.
Anyway.
Any reason to bring up Star Wars?
Yep. I forgot to show my new shirt. So
That is nice.
it is very nice, Tyler. Thank you.
I like it.
I like the way it turned out quite a bit. Don't ask to buy one. This is the only one. Tyler's going on vacation next week, and we don't need to bother him. So, hey, where are you going? He never did say.
Panama City.
That sounds terrible.
Absolutely.
It's hot here. Why would you go somewhere where it's hotter?
It's
It
only
is
supposed
summer.
to be in the mid-80s. Checking the weather. It's only supposed to be in the mid-80s.
Mid-80s.
Only supposed to be in the 70s here next week, so
I know.
I mean,
It'll be nice.
it'll be nice.
You know, when we made this plan, I'd never been down there. I thought September, that's fall. It's going to be colder down there. And then when after we planned it, then it was like, that's hurricane season.
And now you know why the rooms are so cheap.
I'm like, did you know this? It's like, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we paid a little extra money, made sure that if we needed to, we can change our flights, we can cancel our rooms. So Saturday, we're going to do one final check. As far as we can tell, nothing's popping up. No, hurricane.
I haven't heard about anything recently.
No. Everything looks to be okay. Just a couple of rainy days. That's going to happen in the mornings. We got a Airbnb right on the beach,
Nice.
so it's right by the water. So we're gonna, whether rain or shine, we're gonna have those doors, and it's gonna be looking out, and the doors are gonna be open, listening to the waves.
Nice.
I
That
don't care.
does sound nice.
Be fun.
I don't care whether I'm gonna be out there on the beach or not. It's gonna be just me and my brain shutting off.
Yep.
That's all I care about.
Yep.
Only time I've seen the ocean is the North Atlantic, and it doesn't matter what time of year you go there, the water's cold.
Cold.
I can make an issue.
Cold. Doesn't matter. Mid-July. Cold.
Mm-hmm. It's nice though. No sharks, so
But there was a shark.
not that many.
You don't remember that?
I remember.
It wasn't big. It was only like 3 feet. 3 foot long.
Yeah, it washed up.
But
on the beach.
Yep. Yeah, right after we got done playing in the water.
Came after you, huh?
Yeah, it was dead, so it's hard telling. Maybe because it was so cold and it shouldn't have been up there.
Well, that's its own fault.
But that was a different time. I miss those days.
Yeah.
Still hear the chirping.
Yep. This still going.
We've been delaying this long enough. We ready to move on to Tyler's topic?
What's Tyler's topic?
Let's go to Giants.
The Giants.
The Giants, because I think he had better notes than I did on it. I'm not doing that great. You know, I got through Goliath. Well, and his brothers, and I went down this whole other weird rabbit hole, and then I didn't write any of it down.
And see, I thought when we were talking about the Giants,
Yeah.
Alex was very, very persistent about we are not going down the Nephilim rabbit hole. We're not going down there. And I said, okay, we're just talking about tall people.
Yep.
I can do that, and the stinking camera's going crazy. I need you to stop. Anyway, so I kind of kept on the outlines of all that best I could.
I mean,
I didn't think about
you,
Goliath.
no,
If
but you going down that rabbit hole of the Nephilim. There's just too many things that could distract you from the real point of all of it, and you have to be careful going down that road because it can lead you to some weird places.
Yes.
And our thought process is we don't want to distract anybody from the real truth. So it's just one of the things that I personally don't want to go down that road. And I understand where Alex is coming from, but at the same time, you have people like Goliath. Goliath said, "Bible records things weird." So, it recorded him at what we call 6 cubits in a span.
Mm-hmm.
So, cubit, they're saying roughly 18 inches, more like a 17 and a half. And a span was anywhere from 6 to 9 inches. That put him 9'6" to 9'9" range. That's a big person.
Yeah.
And it goes also into the point where, why did David pick up 5 stones that day?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Goliath wasn't the only one.
Yep.
There were other people. Some people say they were Goliath's 4 brothers. Other people, there's. I was looking at a family tree. It kind of showed one person on the same plane as Goliath, and then 3 people below. So I don't know if they were somebody else's kids, or they weren't related, or if they were his kids, or whatever this was. But there was 5 of them, and believe it or not, according to what they're saying, Goliath was the shortest one.
Really?
The one that was there the same age as him was over 12 foot tall. So, I mean, you have large people, but it goes down. I've also seen some other things where it talked about potentially people were larger in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
King Saul, it's got him recorded at 6'9". They said that he stood a head above all Israel. So basically, they're saying that he was 9 inches above all Israel. So that puts those to them at 6 foot anyway.
Yeah.
And we kind of think that there was a period of time where everybody was almost hobbit sized. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe there's the different generations and the, I don't know. I have a hard time how to describe this. It's the same thing like dog breeds. When they breed in too close, you kind of create genetic mutations, and you can create the shorter people, you can create the taller people, but it seems like as cultures went and kept together, tried to keep pure, some of the heights shrank.
Yeah.
And now that we're back into a thing where people are spreading back out, the heights are coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, I told Tyler to go, and then I cut him off. So I guess we'll go back to Tyler. Playing Alex really well in the light.
Doing a great job. Doing a great job. So giants in the Bible. They are kind of an interesting topic to talk about. Like I said, me and Melissa talked about them. Last year we kind of got on this topic a good bit when we were doing our Bible reading. We went and did the Bible through. We read the Bible through the year, did the devotions, and we were on this. We were talking about it forever, like not forever, but we did a couple days talking about it. So the rabbit hole is definitely dug, and the trap is set for people to kind of go around and around and around, because you're like, who, what, where, and how. Because you just
Yep.
want to understand. Because it's interesting.
Mm.
It's very interesting because of how things are worded. But the phrase "sons of God," which is often is used to identify beings in the Bible in the Old Testament, they use it 5 times, and it's usually a reference. Most of the time, people usually commonly refer to them as angels or something along those lines. Um, it's usually re- exclusively creatures that that became a creative act of God, never by natural human generation. Adam is usually called son of God. That was what I'm trying to say. He's a special creation, not born of natural generation. So he was created. Um, Israel is cooperatively called God's son, and as such is miraculous created. The angels are called sons of God, and it's also obviously not a natural generation. Jesus himself is a human son of God, but again, by special creation, that is, born of a virgin. Finally, believers are sons of God, which are born not by blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. John 1:13. Um, Scripture certainly indicates that some angels evidently did become moral and natural acts. So that's where we kind of get into the whole Nephilim talk and things. And Nephilim are usually just referred to as giants or fallen ones, is kind of how the Hebrew break it down when I looked into the Strong's Concordance. And when we talk about other cultures, the Sumerian culture is also references giants
Yep.
quite often and things. The notes I sent you, I did some research and dug around a little bit and kind of earlier cultures and things around the globe. And some things I found were an Irish giant that was found and talked briefly about in 1895. It was 12 foot 2 inches. Some other fossils were found in Romania and some in the caves of Mexico.
Yep.
So, these entities, these things that were tall in stature were around the globe. Um, we'll touch on that here in just a little bit. Adam was also considered, kind of like what you talked about with Solomon being taller. Adam was considered a giant in some other parts of different, with some other Kabbalistic, I can't pronounce it right, but Kabbalistic traditions, teachings of the Bible, when referring to Genesis chapter 6. Some consider this to be more symbolic, though. That is just kind of a different way. I guess that's a version of like the Hebrew rendering of the Bible. From what I was kind of digging into, they kind of see it more not spiritual, but more mystical. If I were able to spin that.
Yeah.
Again, key phrase or key verse is Genesis 6:4. Paraphrasing here, there were giants in the earth in those days.
Right.
Over 1,000 accounts of at least 7 feet and above skeletons have reportedly been unearthed from ancient burial sites over a 200-year period in North America alone. So that's not even accounting for the other places in the Middle East and things like in Africa, things like that, where you would think there'd be an overabundance. A big caveat that a lot of archaeologists and things, I watched a couple videos the other night that have kind of tried to puncture holes in the giants of the Hebrew, is that they can't find any bones. They can't find any remnants of Hebrew things, but they can find tools that are abnormally huge, weapons that a normal human wouldn't wield. Like you'd find a sword, you'd find a spear. That would be something that an average 6-foot human would never ever
Yeah.
they would swing that thing around.
Several hundred. I saw some things too. I mean, these items look like they're several hundred pounds.
Yes.
Swords 12, 13 feet long, kind of thing. They were very, very large.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know. Well, again, we'll touch on why there may not be any actual remains of the Hebrew giants in just a sec. But I pulled from a site a phrase that I really, a point that they brought out that I really did like. They said that there were giants in the day simply because humanity hadn't been fully genetically corrupted. Everyone was big and tall and mighty, and God intervenes to shorten human lifespans. This theory takes the biblical account at face value, that these sons of God were simply men. In any case, there were giants in the land at this time before the flood and afterward. Genesis 6:4. There were still giants during this time, during the time of Israel's conquest of Canaan, Numbers 13:33, and David's time, 1 Samuel 17:4-7. If these Nephilim were superhumans, resulting from demonic and human cohabitation, it seems they would have died in the flood, Genesis 7:21-23. The fact that they were still around after the flood is either evidence that the fallen angels performed the same act again at some point after the flood, or it is another indicator in support that these giants on the earth from time to time were exceptional but not superhuman.
Yeah.
So, bringing everything full circle and a nice, pretty Christmas bow, I would, and I am no expert on this at all by any means, but I would beg the question as to why there wouldn't be any bones or remains. Is, if these were kind of a cross breed or something that wasn't fully developed, or something that wasn't completely perfected, or I don't know how you'd want to put it, or if it was a crossbreed between something that was spiritual or otherworldly, it just wouldn't exist after so long. It would probably deteriorate a little bit quicker, probably wouldn't be existent. It probably would go away quite fast. So the bones would decay, things would give way. One thing I do not believe in, though, that some people do fight and argue about, is that the giants were aliens. That the Nephilims were outer worldly beings. Because sons of God often too get kind of confused with angels being, fallen angels being that they were aliens, outer worldly beings. So that's one thing I don't quite agree with. I watched one video about that too, and they were trying to argue that some of that kind of was a thing. And I'm like, I don't know about that part.
I don't either. I mean, it's something that Alex wants to delve into later, but there are different realms.
Yeah.
That we can't see, and that's kind of where most time I believe that's where the angels reside. Same planet. They're in a different space of time, potentially, but they're here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that I need to research more. But we can't cross that. But I kind of believe as time gets closer and closer and closer to the end, the veil between the realms is getting thinner.
Yeah.
Because it tells us that in the end, we will see the signs. And I think part of those signs is being able to see into the other realm and seeing some of those things that we weren't allowed to see before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one thing that's still kind of, you can't talk about giants, can't talk about Nephilim without the whole thing about how they crossbred. And when it talks about when they saw the women of men, and I'm paraphrasing and I'm trying to remember the scripture how it was truly stated. They these were the men. These were how the men of well renown were born.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's where it all me and Melissa's script kind of conversation came from, because you're like, well, who were the men of renown? Like, what was that all about? You know, because it really didn't go into detail. It didn't say,
Yeah.
and these were the men of renown status, like, and blah 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 blah. Okay, who were those people?
Yeah. I mean, you have that, but I kind of think that there may have been giants outside of that as well.
Mm.
You know, there was multiple different races.
Oh yeah.
So you had the potential that the Nephilim, as you want to call them, were there, but like the Philistines at that time were of Greek descent. You know, we're talking about Goliath again.
Yeah.
They were of Greek descent, and they'd come across the sea, were over there, but they were just a larger group of humans in general.
Mm.
And then some of them were even bigger than the rest. But I have seen, as you were talking about earlier, in North America, as we stand, you have the Mayans, which have pictures. I don't know how they have, because they didn't write things back then. Stories were told verbally, generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
But they have stories of large, pale-skinned, red-headed giants. In Mexico, the Native Americans, they don't talk about it much. The Native Americans from here, when the Americans came, they also had stories of large, red-headed, pale-skinned giants. And we're talking, this is, 1600s,
Mm-hmm.
from 1400 1600s. They were talking, they still had stories of those people existing in this in this country. And they have found bones out west of people that could appear to be in that 7 foot plus to 12 foot range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess they're bowling upstairs.
So I seen an article the other day was talking about, like, they found, like, amber, like, fossilized amber, like tree sap.
Yeah.
And it had air bubbles in it. And they tested the air bubbles that were in it, and they said there was 50% more oxygen in the air bubble than what there is today.
Right.
And that was from the area just like pre-flood era. They're saying, but pre-flood, the air was more oxygen dense.
Yes.
Which would promote larger growth of, like, all life, basically.
Yeah. Everything being larger.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to that first point we were talking about earlier, where pre-flood, potentially everyone was a larger person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Side note, I don't know if you saw this. So somehow they're able to track carbon monoxide levels throughout time. During the era of Genghis Khan, he killed enough people that they actually able to see a decrease in carbon dioxide in the universe, or in the air.
Wow.
I believe it.
So, yeah, that's interesting. Just a little side thing. I've been trying to figure out these different things, as time goes, but I don't know, one of my global warming look up things that I try to do, because I'm trying to research, trying to figure out things, how to describe some of this stuff to some people. It's hard. You have to sit down, you have to do your own research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I was doing like that school shooter research earlier, I pulled up articles, and the one that I went to kind of trust more to get my information was from a newspaper that's not in this country. It seemed to be the most unbiased out of all of them. There just seemed to be a lot of bias in the way that the titles are written and all those other things from papers and news, news companies in this country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the other thing is that information, non-tainted information, is hard to come by. And it's something that we don't know what all happened, what's all going on. Because as each ruler goes throughout time, this isn't a new thing, them trying to capture information. Anytime, that's the reason they would burn the towns and tear down all the buildings a long time ago, is that any information that they had, any written information, would be destroyed. And those people would lose their history if they didn't have it, kept where they could have a verbal. Everything that was written down would be gone, and you'd lose all history from the past. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with this, because I'm trying to go down these rabbit holes, and I'm trying to use our way of looking things up, which is the internet. Mm-hmm. The internet is biased. I use multiple different search engines and try to figure out the information the best that I can to make my own decision. You can't trust everything that's out there. And it goes back to the whole, don't want to go down that Nephilim rabbit hole, because there are people out there that put out that Nephilim information and taint it on purpose to try to get people distracted. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that was Alex's big part with not wanting to do giants, because there are people who are trying to trick people. And it even says so in the Bible that in the last days, people will be confused. Mm-hmm. And there will be, people that will follow false teachings because of that confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that. So, I mean, the best thing you can do is try to compare multiple different forms of information and try to figure out what they're saying that's in common, and figure out what opinion someone is putting in their piece that's not actually fact. I was watching Sean Ryan this week. Watched an older episode. I'm going to try to I want to get this woman's name just so anybody, she wrote a book about nuclear war. Hopefully I can get this. I need to get her name real quick, so give me just 1 second. She wrote a book about nuclear war scenarios that played out. And she's been researching this. I did not click on the video. Stop it.
That's an interesting name.
What is her name? So Annie Jacobson. So she wrote a book called Nuclear Armageddon. And the information she's pulling from this book starts back from a war game, I think from Reagan era. There's no way, bless you, there's no way that nuclear war starts and doesn't end in a nuclear winter. But she had to go. She's been spending the last 3 or 4 years going around and talking to people. And as more and more information becomes unclassified, she's going and trying to, get the information. And that's hard to attain, to put out the right information that people need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because they try to put it out there that you can, slow nuclear war, whatever it is. But if it starts, it's not good.
Not at all.
And that's information that people aren't getting. Is, all the bad things that are really out there and all the things that they need to watch And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to play Alex again, but here we are running off down a rabbit hole. I'm just trying to tell people, you need to have a critical mind, and you need to do the research, and you need to read things for yourself, and not watch a video and think that is 100% the truth.
Yeah.
Because just like right now, there's videos out there, there's a couple different videos, that the Hells Angels are on their way to Colorado to fight the Venezuelan gangs. And that them and the Diablos and a couple other motorcycle gangs that hate each other are planning to band together to take care of the situation. And there's no way that these groups of people that absolutely hate each other are to come together. But one person said it, and now I've seen 3 or 4 different other people pick it up and run with it. And this was last week, and as of right now, nothing's come to show of it. I mean, it's just one of them things that someone saw one video and everybody's running, and they're not doing research that they need to do. Please do your research. That's kind of one thing that I wanted from this podcast, is I wanted to be able to look things up and try to figure things out that maybe change my mind on some things. Because we don't know all the information, and we're trying to figure this out. Anybody else? Giants. Big people.
Okay football team.
Huh?
They're an okay football team.
Okay football team. Yeah. They're okay. Always better than the Cowboys, but they're okay.
We're not going to talk about the Eagles.
I wasn't planning on talking that without Alex here, but I sent that thing to the group where they have that bus bench ad of a certain politician saying that she was the official politician of the Philadelphia Eagles. The other half of the screen was a release from the Eagles stating that there is someone putting out fake ads with their name on it, and they were in the process of trying to take care of that. So I don't, again, that's information I have not researched more than that. But it looks, I don't understand why people try to do those kinds of things. They try to trick people all the time.
Just saying.
Always trying to trick people.
The ad they put out, the website that's on the bottom of the ad, is a legit link to the Giants website with all their voter information and stuff.
Giants, you mean Eagles?
Eagles, sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, there was a Twitter post here a while back. Okay. This is the most hilarious one that I've ever seen. Trickery that I've ever seen. It was a post Joe Biden put up. And at the bottom of it, it had a link that said Donald Trump Agenda 25 or whatever it was, at suchandsuch.com. So it made it sound like at donaldtrump.com.
Yeah.
You clicked on it, it went to joebiden.com, but had all that information. You can see it across the top of the page. It said, joebiden.com. It wasn't Donald Trump's website. I guess they're trying to think that people wouldn't actually click on the link or pay attention that the website definitely changed names across the top when it went there. But I don't know. This is trickery all around, and I don't understand. But that goes back to where people don't do their own research. They don't think for themselves. Because the thought police are coming for them, apparently. Back to Britain.
Yeah.
Thought police are coming. And that's, I don't know. I just wish people would think for themselves. That's all I want. That's all I want. Take a second and think for yourself. Don't just fly out the handle, get mad. Think about it. Please. Think about it.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to move on to the California sudden doom?
Let's talk about a doomfish.
Doomfish. That's doomfish, not dumbfish. So, August 10th, I believe now. This has been a minute. 12-foot long oarfish washed up in California. These fish are usually not seen because they're usually deep sea. They only come up around the time that something big's about to happen. Usually large earthquakes or tsunamis or those kinds of things happen in the area that they show up in when they come to those areas. So one was seen August 10th in California. This one was dead, which they're usually not dead. They're usually just kind of swimming around. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think the superstition states that if they're dead, it's going to be worse than it would have been if they were alive. But it's a Japanese superstition that when these fish are seen, something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
And California's falling off in the ocean.
There's been a whole lot of earthquakes in the last couple weeks too.
Have there?
A lot more than normal.
I haven't heard about it. I have not heard.
A lot more than normal.
Again? Yeah, that news has not made it across my desk. I wish it would have. Tyler?
I really
Where are you at with it? Huh?
I really wish I had time today to Photoshop Alex's face on a picture of an oarfish. I really wanted to do that.
Yeah?
I wanted to share a picture and have an oarfish picture with Alex's face on it. I'm so upset at myself.
You should be.
That was my biggest thing today. I had to work over at work, and so I didn't get time to do that. But yeah, there's not a whole lot outside of what you said about the superstition and the doom and gloom. I mean, that's kind of interesting. I never heard of that. Oarfish is kind of a rare thing for it to pop up. I've never seen them a lot until you talked about it, and I did a little bit of looking up and read the article about it popping up in that.
Yeah. I mean, they've only been seen a handful of times since 1901.
Yeah, 20 were found beached just before 2011 in Japan.
Yeah.
And that was a big one.
2011. Was that when the big tsunami hit? 2011? I didn't look. Probably should have looked that up a little more. They got hit with a big tsunami there around that same time, I thought.
I'm trying to see if that was during that tsunami or not.
I had pictures of this thing uploaded to the host here, but it's not letting me see pictures right now. I know it, Tyler.
Oh, excuse me. I have to correct myself. Only 20 oarfish have washed up in California since 1901.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. I merged my notes together on that. But I was trying to look up and see when the thing in Japan, but I don't see where. Oh no, it was. Yeah, it just says 20. My notes did. Yeah, I was right. 20 oarfish were found beached just before 2011 earthquake in Japan. So I was right in that note from the Jerusalem Post.
That's a lot. 20 fish at one time.
And those aren't small fish.
They're big fish.
They're big fish.
I think average is like 12 feet. It's an average size fish. It's a lot of fish. Lots of sushi.
A lot of sushi.
Lots of it. Huh. So, let's have to see. Like I said, I hadn't heard that they're already having earthquakes out there. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Maybe they fall off in the ocean.
Maybe they're trying to find Nemo.
My professional opinion. Like, we've been doing this 10 weeks now, guys. five full episodes. We are now YouTube professionals. I think we can act as such. What are you sharing? Oh, there's the information on the earthquakes. That's over here on the iPad. Let me go to the group chat. That is it video?
There's a video with it. It's a news link.
Video. So, this states, series of earthquakes shake SoCal. Are we prepared for the big one? 55 earthquakes, magnitude 3 or greater, have been recorded in the last 30 days. One has been a 5.2.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious. Southern California has been shaken with a series of earthquakes in recent weeks, raising concern among residents about whether a major quake might be approaching sooner rather than later. Huh, that's cool. Not really, I mean, that's not cool, but it's already happening.
Yeah.
The doomfish, once again, is correct.
The fish of doom.
Yep. What's our doomfish, though, in the Midwest?
What's that kind of trout?
Probably a gar.
Probably more like gar. We don't have trout in regular Indiana. We do in northern Indiana, which is Great Lakes water.
I'm trying to think. There was my coworker Mike. There's a certain kind of a fish that they pay you to take out of the water.
Asian carp.
That's it. Asian carp. That's our
Those
big fish.
things are stupid.
They're everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
I have. Were you with me on the Wabash, Leo? Were you ride the fan boat with me?
Nope.
I'm out on a fan boat on the Wabash. Not the greatest, afternoon ever, but these things are in the water everywhere. They're jumping out of the water. You got to watch your head. You got to wear a helmet when you're riding a boat because they're just everywhere. And I seen a video. I mean, you have to have, because I got guys at work that eat anything and everything. They said Asian carp are basically useless. You have to have about a 30-inch fish to get about a 6-inch fillet out of it. That's actually any good to eat.
Jeez.
I mean, they're all bone. They're not really any good. I will tell you, if you ever go to a restaurant and you see a fish option that says silverfin, it is Asian carp. So they call it something else. Once again, use some trickery. But yes, they are taking them out in large numbers. There's if I can remember where my information goes, because I don't know if you guys do it or not, but as throughout the week as I'm researching things, I Facebook message myself links to remember.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can I don't want to flood you guys with a bunch of stuff all at once, so I kind of space it out. And then I'll have my references that come out, the day before, the day of recording kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I need to start doing better with actually making sure I get those in there. But there's a group in Illinois that just went over. They're trying to eradicate these things because they're very invasive and they kill everything. Anything and everything that's in the water, they just absolutely destroy habitats. And they're pulling 20 to 30 55-gallon barrels of these fish out of the water a day.
Mm-hmm.
And not making any headway. They're that invasive and that in there. I mean, it's the same way with the green sunfish. It's the same way. It can crossbreed with a bluegill, but then you never get your bluegill back. But they don't grow as big, but they grow so fast. I think their spawn rate is 3 times that of a bluegill. So for every cycle that bluegill can put out eggs, greenfish can do it 3 times. And they're taking their same habitats. And that's why we're losing our populations of our fish, and they're getting intermingled, and it's just harder and harder and harder because these invasive species just keep taking over.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to go back to my original question, what our doomfish is. Have you guys heard of the new Madrid fault line? Basically runs right up to Mississippi River.
Mm-hmm.
They're predicting that the next big one's not that far away, coming up the new Madrid fault line. Which I don't understand why they think it's coming there, and why there is a fault line there, because that is one of the flattest sections of line property I've ever seen. So I don't know how there's a fault line there.
Yeah.
Usually where there's fault lines meeting together, you have mountains or valleys.
River is a valley.
Technically, river is a valley. I'm kind of eating my words here. Maybe they're pushing down, creating Mississippi Valley. Another rabbit hole. I am so good at billing Alex. I got this. Have you seen the thing where they said Egypt in the Bible couldn't be where Egypt is right now? It had to be in the United States because they said 7 rivers combined together to make the Great River that goes through there. And Egypt doesn't have 7 that go into it, but the Mississippi does.
Seen a thing that says there's actually more pyramids in North America than there is in Egypt.
Yeah. We talked about that in episode 1, right? About the Sphinx.
Yeah, the Sphinx in the Grand Canyon.
Yep. That popped up again today when I was looking stuff up about how ancient Egyptians were actually in the American West. I don't know. It goes back to that whole thing where all the land was in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think travel is easier than we think it is now. I don't know. It's just everything's moving, trying to figure out what to say. Because trying to do this research, I don't want to get confused. But there's so much conflicting evidence out there. So much conflicting evidence that you do really have to be careful. So, once again, do your research. Figure it out for yourself. Always make sure whatever you're figuring out cross-references and checks out in the Bible, though. Because you don't want to go down one of those rabbit holes and get lost. And end up in the wrong place for it. Tyler?
What's up?
What's up?
What's
up?
What's up?
Man, I really thought this was going to be a short one tonight. I think there's going to be like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, a couple minutes that I have to edit out of this beginning from that whole house put the dogs up. We're still an hour and 40 minutes into this.
Yeah.
So, Alex, when you watch this, we will probably end up having a 3-hour episode in the next one because now we can talk too.
Yeah.
I don't want to go that long.
No.
Because it's a weeknight and you guys have to go to work tomorrow. Well, Leo doesn't have to leave the house to work, but
no.
Tyler does.
I do. I told my wife, this is going to be a short episode, honey. It'll be like a 35-minute episode. It'll be all right. Never mind.
Once again,
hasn't stormed in yet.
We were wrong. So, do I cut this in 2 episodes, or do we just try to stream it 140 minutes? Hour and 40 minutes? I don't know. Try to edit it in the morning and see where we end up. I get this out tomorrow. I don't plan on getting up before 8 a.m. to have it up by 8 a.m. tomorrow. So I will tell you it probably will be a little bit later. I just would like to say thank you to all the afternoon dumpers out there. We had that conversation. We realized this week that if we upload an episode, short, 12:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and bad boys spike. Just climb quickly. So that seems to be our most viewed time, is about that 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon thing when everybody's hiding in the bathroom, camping out. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for the hard work.
Solids.
Yep. So this has been fun. We went down. I keep trying to use my stupid mouse to work my iPad. And I've got the screen set up right beside my computer here. So I'm going across, and it just won't go to the iPad, no matter how hard I try. Oh, man. It's been fun. I enjoyed things. You guys enjoy things?
Yeah. I enjoy things.
They enjoy things?
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun, guys. See you in the next one.
Hey.